certainly and can certainly be a focal point. Features. We just talked about some of these things in islands and what you might use in there. I will just emphasize one thing here, charging. Interesting. You're starting to see a lot of ways that you can put charging devices integrated with the countertops so that you can just set your phone on the countertop and it starts charging. Appliance drawers such as refrigerators, dishwashers, freezer units, even wine coolers or beverage centers. All of those are great for islands where perhaps maybe on the sides or the back or perhaps in the front, depending on where it's at, is so useful for both sometimes the person preparing meals, but also for simply for people grabbing snacks and other things out of the kitchen. Pantries are interesting. Definitely people are starting to do planning pantries into almost every home, not only just pantry cabinets. The old days you might have had the corner pantry closet, for the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. But for now, you're starting to see pantries that are being built in that are walk-in pantries. So that's just something that's definitely a consideration. We talked about walk-in pantries right off the kitchen, butler pantries, a simple walk-through pantry for access for such as maybe putting your food out. Maybe they can use it to stage food instead of in the kitchen. Food storage prep, some small appliances. You see people want to put their toasters and their mixers and their things like that in the pantry area to make it easy to use that without having to clutter up the kitchen. We don't want appliances on the countertops anymore. When I first started my career almost 30 years ago, it was very common to plan appliances or leave them out on the counter. So partitions and drawers, yeah, that's becoming a strong desire, or whether it's being done as a part of the cabinetry or aftermarket. It's a very strong interest in keeping things orderly. We have so many little things to put in our kitchen compared to, say, 50 years ago that it's really hard to shuffle through everything to get to it. So it makes a lot of sense. Okay, improving storage and utilization or organization in the cabinets. Usability, that's part of what we just talked about. Big drive there. Minimize upkeep and cleaning. That's why you're seeing slab doors, shakers so strong. We're wanting limited management or cleaning needs on the cabinets. So that's a completely smart move there. Floor to ceiling cabinets, big time, especially if your ceilings are, say, 10 feet or lower. It's very common now to go to the ceiling. You're seeing some people will do 12 or 14-foot ceilings in some of these bigger spaces, but then they'll do a soffit that brings it down to 10 feet so that they're not having to take the cabinets to the ceiling. But it seems that we don't want to have open cabinets very much anymore. I don't know if it's the dusting or if it just seems like it's incomplete. But either way, that's what I'm seeing as well. All right, so on the wood grain, on the finished surfaces here, what people are looking for and what they expect for the next 3 years is wood grain painted natural high texture wood. Wood grain doesn't surprise me much, only because we've gone away from that for a little while, where it hasn't been the dominant desire. You see a lot of textured melamines, a lot of painted, a lot of paint, and then a lot of stains that kind of subdue the wood grains. And so I'm seeing the resurgence in the desire to have that wood grain visible again. And the natural high texture, you're seeing that in white oak, walnut, hickory, really great wood grain products. So flat panel, we talked about that in shaker doors. I won't spend much time on that, but you have this page for reference. A little bit about color tones and so forth. Okay, let's talk kitchen countertops. So easy to clean countertops, absolutely. I'm not sure that that's going to change for a long time. But I think that came about is because when granite first came to the scene and you had a lot of porosity in the granite, it caused a resurgence or a swing in the opposite end of the spectrum, that people wanted to have it very easy to clean and maintain. So we'd gone from solid surface and laminates to granite, and now we've gone to the quartz and quartzites, and and so now they're wanting to have anything to be that same maintainability. Of course, you're seeing the countertop extension into the backsplash, very popular for the seamless look, as well as waterfall edges to again have that, I don't know, continuous look. Kind of has a unique appeal to it. I guess one thing you don't have to do is finish the sides of the cabinets when you do a waterfall edge, right? Okay, goals to minimize cleaning. So I don't know. I want to spend a lot of time on this. I think this is pretty obvious, and I've already kind of highlighted a little bit. But it's interesting to me that it mentions heat tolerance and stain resistance, and they had say that there was a little bit of moisture in the pores, and the heat expanded it and cracked the stone. Then I can see why that has become an interest or a wish, or simply a demand. We've talked a little bit about the materials: quartz, quartzite. Other types of stones that are getting some demand and interest, that you see the others. Now, I will tell you, I predict, just from my perspective, you see where solid surface product is. And honestly, I think even tile. I think you're going to see a resurgence in a different way, tile with either no grout lines or epoxy only or something else that causes the grout to be really cleanable. But I think you're going to see a resurgence in that slowly but surely come back into the countertop space. And butcher block, by the way, was on there as well. Lighter colors, honed or matte finishes. I had in one of my showrooms, and I've done for a couple clients where they've done the leathered finish, kind of a nice finish, but just something to break away from the glossy, polished countertop look. We talked a little bit about waterfalls. Okay, let's jump into backsplashes. Sorry, I'm going through this quick, but I know that you understand there's a lot of content here, and I just want to finish up this report for you guys, giving you my opinion, at least for those of you who like my opinion. If you don't, of course, you'll jump off the video now. If you do, then we'll keep rolling. So backsplashes, bold statements, a little bit something different, texture tiles, etc. You might, again, back to the same color tones, materials, same thing as the countertops, basically. Okay, let's jump into flooring. So tile, of course, yeah, smaller, no grout lines, the same as I'm mentioning the future for countertops. But also, textured floor tile, that's interesting. The 33.6%. It had its problems because of difficulty to clean ages ago, but there's probably going to be a new way that's going to be manufactured so that it's really easy to wipe and clean. So vintage looks, definitely the retro or vintage look is starting to pick up steam quite a bit. Minimal upkeep on the floors. Yeah, absolutely. Nobody wants to get on their hands and knees and scrub endlessly. So, and a seam to blend in with the kitchen design. Now, I'm just going to mention one point here about that. Just be careful that doesn't mean the color, meaning you don't want your cabinets and your flooring to match. It's not enjoyable long term, and it's also not safe. You can't tell the difference between your horizontal and vertical surfaces. But I think it means by the design, the flow, the feel, the continuity with the texture or the materials or the feel of the space. Okay. Materials, luxury vinyl plank, LVP. Okay. May I suggest, as you've seen in some of my other videos, if you can glue it down, go for it. Floating floors, it's not. They have their troubles and their domino effects of issues that you've got to deal with. But floating floors are great for going over the top of existing floors if you don't want to replace your cabinets. It's just gluing down your material is going to make it hold up a lot better in a lot of applications. So, after 30 years of doing this, I've just seen all kinds of issues happen, and we can talk more about that in detail later. Large format, again, the tones. Refrigerators. So options such as they want flexibility. So whether it be separating the fridge and freezer, whether it be the hybrid options where a drawer or a compartment can change from a freezer to a fridge or back again, those things are growing quickly. And I think that designers and homeowners both are driving that movement because our life change. And when we first buy the fridge, we want it to be different in 6 months or 3 years than before, right? So, usability, you want it to blend in with the kitchen. Very strong. You see 65% are asking for that now. So whether that be that you put wood panels on the front, I kind of think that there's some interesting things coming down the road. I've seen some LED lighting panels on refrigerators. In fact, I think LG had that at one of the shows. Kind of fun. But I think maybe we'll even get to the point where we can put our own graphics on a refrigerator. It'll be a screen and we can have our own colors, or take a picture of the cabinets and put it on there. I mean, who knows what could be coming down the road? I'm just giving manufacturers ideas, right? uh, they'll like that. Installation, again, fully integrated, built in, flush counter depth. Look at that. I mean, freestanding, look at how low that is. I think that that's going to make some major changes to the way that how few built-in, or sorry, freestanding refrigerators, or you're going to see freestanding, I think, change its look to be built in somehow without paying the exorbitant price of having, an actual built-in refrigerator. So who knows what the market will do in the next few years. Um, French door fridges, no doubt about that. So versatile, especially in design, where maybe you don't have the option to have landing space on both sides of the fridge. But if you have landing space on one side, then at least the refrigerator still serves its purpose and it's very functional in that application. Drawers, of course, are always nice. It brings out the storage items to you. Ironically, I have pull out or roll out shelves in my fridge. I never use them. It's just, I don't know. It's just not convenient. I mean, maybe you have them and you use them, and that's fine. But drawers are way more user friendly. Um, Stainless. I don't know what to say about the stainless thing. I've got other things in other videos I've said about stainless, but it's unfortunately too neutral and too easy to go to. Um, but they say most refrigerators will be stainless. So, I guess that's what the consensus is among the people who know what they're talking about, including, my contribution here. Or paneled, of course. Now you see paneled is close though, 57%, 68%. So again, paneled refrigeration, you pay to have it be panel ready, but you also then pay to get the cabinet panels to match your cabinets to go in the front of the fridge. So I think you're going to see a way less expensive way for that to be done. When it first came to the market to be able to put panels on fridges, now we're talking close to 30, about 25, 28 years ago, maybe it's 30 years ago for some products. They would put a trim kit. You could buy a trim kit that goes around the fridge with basically a place you can insert 1/4-inch panels that matches your cabinets. So like skins that match your cabinets. And that was the way that people got that look a long time ago. And maybe some of you watching this, maybe you did it. Technology. Emergency power source for refrigerators. Yeah, how many of you have lost food when your power goes out? So that's pretty interesting just for the refrigerator. I wonder if maybe some manufacturers will incorporate something in there that you can buy what would that be? A generator? Maybe it's solar powered, or maybe it's powered just by UV light, or regular artificial lighting. I don't know, but we'll see. There could be some interesting changes there. The leak detection things for dishwashers and fridge water lines is kind of nice, or maybe your steamed ovens. Um, I think that is growing because we don't want the floods, but certainly if we do have a flood, we don't want it to do much damage, so we don't have to do a major remodel in order to fix it. So I'll let you look at the rest of that stuff on your own. Let's jump into dishwashers. Interesting. Standard door versus 2 drawers. Guys, I'm telling you, I've got the dishwasher drawers in my house, and I would never go back if I have the choice. I've had a standard door. I've had and there's some really high performing dishwashers out there now. But the usability of a 2 drawer unit is by far. I think the reason why that's low is because not all manufacturers offer it. In fact, there still may only be one that offers it, but there was another manufacturer who dabbled in that space for a little while, but then they stopped making them. I bet you'll see companies come back to offering that. When they do, I bet that will go up because drawers are better than doors for accessing items. And we love our dish drawers. So, oops, sorry. Okay, next. Dishwashers, looking for technology, I think mostly for speed, for notification when dishes are done, things like that, perhaps. Quiet, yeah, that's always been the case since dishwashers got past their very rudimentary introduction to the marketplace. When I first started selling dishwashers in the 95, um, they everybody wanted quieter dishwasher than what they're used to. They don't want to have to yell over the top of their dishwasher while it's operating. Okay, cooking appliances. Looking for more than one, yes. So whether we're talking about a cooktop and an oven or multiple ovens, I'm seeing the demand here increase. I have done some unique ones where I've actually done two cooktops, a primary cooktop and maybe a secondary two-burner cooktop that can be used for, say, prepping a dessert or for snacks or for, when you don't want to do the full meal deal and you do something simple. Maybe it's more of an entertainment need or aspect while friends are over and I'm preparing, some sort of simple dish. Key goals for cooking appliances: improve usability, minimize cleaning. Yeah, I mean, you saw it when the open burner range manufacturers started to seal the burners, right? Obviously, cleaning and maintenance was one of the major drives to that. So I think you're also going to see something happen with gas grates. I mean, these grates having all that to clean, you can put a lot of those in your dishwasher, but they're heavy and not really easy to do that with. But I think that there's going to be some changes there to make maintenance and cleaning easier. Alternative cooking methods. I'm telling you, this is definitely a lot's happening here. So whether it be steam cooking, air frying, those are growing. You're also seeing sous vide pick up. The steam oven, right, is something that is getting some traction. Microwave drawers, absolutely. Convection ovens, honestly, convection, in my opinion, has been growing for 20 years since it was kind of introduced to the marketplace, at least to the U.S. market. But it is definitely growing. If you haven't ever cooked in convection, by the way, I'm surprised at how many people still have not. You need to try it. Try it in a friend's house. Try it in a showroom that has an operating one, something. But get a chance to try convection over conventional cooking. You'll be impressed at how much more smoothly it cooks. Okay, cooktops popular in separate and combined range configurations. So yeah, I mean, this is personal preference. It's also dictated by space and available space to use. Induction is pretty much becoming almost the norm. And then these invisible countertop cooktops. If you haven't seen those yet, they'll put the heating items underneath the countertop. Sometimes they'll have to go dig in, router out basically part of the countertop to get to the thickness that they can transfer the heat through. And then you're going to have controls either on the front or on the top, or maybe touch controls, or maybe smart controls on your phone. And then you simply just know the region that you need to cook on. You put your pan there, and it cooks right on the countertop or through the countertop, let's call it. Kind of cool. So oven configuration, yeah, there's a lot happening with the balance between ovens and speed ovens and ovens and microwaves and double ovens and so forth. It looks like the biggest one is one large oven and a built-in microwave. So that's kind of the most popular, looks like, prediction, let's say, for the next 3 years. And then 30 and 36-inch in widths. Stainless, yeah. I mean, but black stainless is picking up speed. Matching the cabinet face is definitely growing. Graphite is growing. And then I think color is going to grow a lot, just in my opinion. But stainless steel, unfortunately, is still the strongest. I say unfortunately just because it's just an easy go-to at this point, right? And again, you've heard me talk about that a lot. Contemporary, commercial, and traditional are your styles that people are looking at. Ventilation. I'm sorry I'm zipping through this quick here. I just want to get through the rest of the report for you. Again, functional integrated ventilation. So whether that be, I think in the wall, inside the cabinet, a raised one that kind of in the island that disappears, a raised vent, and then of course making that a focal point, very strong. The last 5 to 7 years, and picking up steam, and I think that will definitely maintain for the next 3 years or so. Sinks. All right, guys, workstation sinks. I've talked about that in one of the videos. I actually did one of my analysis videos, expert analysis videos, where I give additional input on top of somebody else's great produced video. And there's been a few of those I've mentioned about workstation sinks. They're great because, again, you're doing so many activities around a sink. You're cleaning, you're prepping, you're cutting, you're straining, right? Maybe you're just filling up a pot with water. You're getting drinks, of water. All those factors, it causes for the space to not just be one generic space. There's, a workstation that makes it way easier to do that with. Okay. So new colors and finishes, I think it's definitely becoming a little bit of a focal point. And so people are using that as a chance to get some interesting colors in there. Um, for sinks, the goals: improve usability, minimize cleaning and upkeep, blend seamlessly with the overall kitchen design. I'm not sure how to do that other than the under counter or undermount sinks, and maybe a cutting board or something that goes over the top that kind of takes away from the typical pit look of having a sink in the kitchen. Perhaps that's just a perspective anyway. We've talked enough about that already. Stainless steel or sink material. Sorry, stainless steel, composite, porcelain. Um, Stainless steel is dominant, but I think you're going to see the composite solid surface materials. I think are going to pick up and perhaps overtake stainless steel, and porcelain, cast iron. Interesting, cast iron's been around a long time. It's just such a durable product, but it's really great for keeping hot water hot, cold water cold. So that's kind of a nice feature to the cast iron sinks. Colors, again, stainless is interesting. Okay, so stainless steel is a material, but it's also referred to as a color. So white, graphite, earth tone, black are your popular ones. I think you're going to see a little bit of a surge here in the gold, bronze, and copper because of those warm tones that people are looking for. And then maybe in some bold colors is picking up. I think that's going to grow even more as well. We're getting close to the end here, so matte finishes. Yeah, I think people are not necessarily. I think they're going away from gloss in almost all areas. You used to have polished countertops, gloss, even gloss or semi-gloss cabinets, gloss appliances, or semi-gloss, or the textured metal. Maybe all that reflective light people aren't wanting because they're now compensating with better lighting. I don't know. There's a lot of psychological reasons I think could be the factor there. Faucets. So they're looking for a visual element, so style. So that's interesting. 89% looking for style. And then hands-free becoming standard. Yeah, that's growing. That's moving from the commercial space into the residential space in a big wave right now. We're actually specifying a very large high-end project with my other company where we're doing, we're recommending at least the touch-free or hands-free faucets. Usability, um, minimize upkeep and cleanup, and then again a focal point. Okay, colors: gold, champagne, bronze, black, stainless. What are some of the ones up and coming? Perhaps graphite. I think it could be growing, and matte finishes is strong. Um, Subdued feel, not necessarily a strong one, or you get the two extremes: subdued, and then you get just a segment of the population that wants a statement. And then I go to the screen with the polished brass, right? So hands free again, and touch or tap is growing in popularity, while manual I think is actually going down. Design attitudes for kitchen lighting. Ambient lighting for moods. Yes, I think LED has created that blessing for us to allow us to have a lot more control over the way that the space feels, the mood, so to say, right? Important goals: usability, focal point. Again, drop down pendants. Sometimes even some of your track lighting integration. Would be something that people want as a focal point. Look at that gorgeous fixture there, right? Isn't that fun? So under cabinet lights is a strong thing. Task lighting is critical. I say critical, but it's being perceived as critical, and it is important. But I think we're finding more value in having task lighting for a really well planned kitchen. Okay, round linear shape lights. You saw the linear in the picture before. I've done a few projects, designed a few projects, respect a few where they've had round fixtures. There's some color information on those, and then the finishes. Okay. Controls, mobile controls is taking dominance. Look at that. So control it from your phone, perhaps from your smart home, system. When you first walk in, press a button based on what you want to have done. Maybe you have it timed based on 7 o'clock in the morning. The lights come on. That's part of your alarm system to wake you up. Motion sensor, and then, like I said, programmable settings. So kind of cool. All right, biggest trends. This is what homeowners are excited about. So large islands. Large islands, by the way, are getting requested more and more. Integrated technology, hidden kitchens, such as the pantry behind the kitchen, but it is another prep kitchen, so to say. Natural wood and or wood look and natural materials. Wood look, which is going to be in your things like your veneers, your melamines, your laminates, and so forth. And then the things that are going out, hey, over the range microwaves. I've got a video just about that I'll put in the description. By the way, if you have any input or questions about this report, anything I haven't covered or I have covered, please put in the comments. I respond to everything, at least right now I do. So please give us, let me know, and I'll respond to that. All white kitchens. I'll wait till I see that. By the way, now meaning that 60, 2/3 of all kitchens for over 70 years or whatever it's been now has been white kitchens. I'd be surprised if it goes below 60%, just because it's neutral. It's bright in a space that people are preparing. It's easy to, I mean, it's easy to tell if it's clean. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Trash compactors, by the way, I would almost consider those completely out. I probably sold 2 out of 10 projects, maybe 3 out of 10 projects were trash compactors 30 years ago. Maybe it was 4 out of 10. But now I haven't seen a trash compactor in a project I've worked on in out of the last probably 1,000 units. So it's very, very low. Maybe there's areas of the country where there's more demand. I'm in the Southwest. But yeah, and then gray cabinets. Interesting that that's saying it's going on the way out. But nonetheless, that's what is the consensus. Sustainability. So I will spend more time on sustainability from my perspective in other videos. But yeah, recycling, products that last longer. I'm a big advocate of that, regardless of if my primary focus is the landfills and so forth. I believe that you should purchase for the longest time possible use of a product. Um, how important is it? 8% says extremely, but 34% say very. So that's 42% that are very or extremely important to them, and then somewhat for 42%. And then based on who, homeowners slightly higher than manufacturers, slightly higher than designers. Isn't that interesting? The reason why I think is designers are looking for the best solution for the project, and oftentimes the perception of sustainability of a product can sometimes be overdone. And so, as designers, we usually focus on just getting the job done properly with whatever the best material, color, application is. And sustainability is a little bit lower on that realm. I think in some markets it's way stronger than others. What does the profile look like? Who is doing the projects? So Gen Z, that's going to grow very quickly. Millennials, it's very strong. Interesting. Millennials without kids and millennials with kids. Isn't that interesting that they separated that? But that's a pretty big segment of the population. Gen X and then boomers still making some big decisions. I think that boomers are going to continue to taper off quickly, over the next 3 to 5 years. Silent generation, of course, we're losing those wonderful folks to graduating. But and then and who's designing for Gen X the most? Isn't that interesting? So I am a Gen X. That's my age group, and so it looks like I am in the dominant area that I'm designing for Gen X, probably because I'm the generation above them, and they're looking for. Oh, I'm sorry, Gen X. I'm designing for Gen X. Correct. Okay, that's interesting. I'm designing for my own generation, and that's what it looks like is the consensus across the board. How much are we spending for the total cost to a customer? The median is 67, and the mean is 80,000. Honestly, all you have to do is look at the average value of a home and then times that by 15%, and that's where you get your number. If the average home is 500,000 in the U.S., then the average spend would be right around 75,000 for a full kitchen remodel. Well, so that's right in that space, right? So I have a whole nother video, by the way, I'll put in the description that talks about how much you should spend on a kitchen remodel. It doesn't talk about new, but remodels. Okay, real close here, guys. Um, who gave the report, right? I'm not sure that this is going to be something you guys are going to be interested in. Let's see if there's anything else in here But I'm going to go through these so that you can pause on those if you feel that that's important. So thanks, first of all, to the NKBA and KBIS for putting together that report. They do it on an annual basis, and I will be sure to do a video on the next one. I'll probably change the format a little bit to make it a little bit different for you. But if you have any questions, please, jump in and say something. But please subscribe if you like what you're seeing.